Welcome to Luminary Live. Tonight, we're stepping into a war buried beneath the sands of the Horn of Africa. A war that burned like the desert sun and left scars that still linger in silence. This is the Ogaden War, Somalia and Ethiopia's desert inferno. Long before the first shot was fired, the Ogaden Desert had already been claimed, not by nature, but by politics. In 1977, Somalia's leader, Siad Barre, looked across the border and saw what he believed was rightfully Somaliland, the Ogaden, home to ethnic Somalis trapped under Ethiopian rule. To him, this was unfinished business from colonial times. He dreamed of a greater Somalia, a single nation uniting all Somali people under one flag. But on the other side of the desert, Ethiopia was a wounded giant. Emperor Haile Selassie had fallen, and a new regime, the Marxist Derg, led by Mengistu Haile Mariam, ruled with an iron fist and Soviet backing. The desert became the next chessboard of the Cold War. In the summer heat of 1977, Somali tanks rolled into the Ogaden like a storm. The offensive was swift and ruthless. Somali pilots dominated the skies, and by September, nearly 90% of the Ogaden was under Somali control. Villagers cheered as the blue Somali flag rose over captured towns. But victory in the desert is a mirage. Ethiopia called for help, and Moscow answered. Within months, the Soviet Union switched sides, abandoning Somalia and sending billions of dollars in weapons to Ethiopia. They also deployed 15,000 Cuban troops, led by Fidel Castro's generals, to fight shoulder to shoulder with the Ethiopians. The war turned. By early 1978, Ethiopia's counteroffensive began, a coordinated assault powered by Soviet MiGs and Cuban infantry. Somali troops, outnumbered and outgunned, tried to hold the line in towns like Jijiga and Dire Dawa. But the desert offered no mercy. The sand was soaked not by rain, but by the blood of young men who believed they were fighting for their people's freedom. Refugees flooded across the borders, mothers carrying infants, children crying in exhaustion. Behind them, whole villages burned. By March 1978, Somalia had lost the Ogaden. Barre's dream of a greater Somalia had turned into ashes. Tens of thousands were dead, hundreds of thousands displaced. The defeat broke the spirit of a nation. Inside Somalia, anger brewed. Soldiers and officers felt betrayed. An attempted coup followed, but it failed. And so began Siad Barre's slow descent into dictatorship, paranoia, and eventually, collapse. Meanwhile, in Ethiopia, Mengistu tightened his grip, ruling through fear, purges, and famine. The Cold War victors moved on. The desert was silent again. Today, the Ogaden remains a land of silence and suspicion. Its people, still caught between history and identity. The war may have ended on paper, but its consequences ripple through generations. The rise of internal rebellions in Somalia. The distrust between the Horn's nations. The endless struggle of those who live forgotten in the desert. The Ogaden was more than a border dispute. It was a tragedy of ambition, ideology, and misplaced loyalty. The Ogaden War was fought in the open, but buried in silence. A silence that history rarely dares to disturb. If you've listened this far, you've done more than witness a story. You've honored those who lived it. Because here on Luminary, we don't just tell stories, we revive them. I'm Chris, and this was the Ogaden War, Somalia and Ethiopia's desert inferno. Join me next time as we uncover another forgotten chapter the world tried to erase.
Now, please subscribe to our channel. Subscribe to our channel. We'll be going on live subsequently. Please enjoy.
I want you to picture this. A young child, tears streaking down their dusty face, standing alone in front of what's left of their home. Smoke curls into the sky, turning the sunrise grey. The world stands still, but for this child, everything has changed in a heartbeat. Around them, the chaos of war has left its mark. Bodies lie scattered on the ground, silent evidence of lives torn apart. There is no sound but the crackle of burning wood and the distant wails of those left behind. In the shadows, a woman clings to her lifeless baby, wrapped tightly in faded cloth. Her cries aren't just for her child, but for a future stolen from her arms. Her face is etched with pain, her voice nearly lost in the storm of heartbreak and fear. This isn't just a story from a faraway place. It's the reality for countless families caught in the crossfire of African conflict. The horror, the chaos, the unbearable loss, they're real and they demand to be seen. I share this not just to break your heart, but to remind us all, behind every headline, there's a child, a mother, a family. Their stories matter, and they need us to remember.
The Bakassi Boys were a vigilante group in Nigeria. Known for their brutal tactics, some saw them as heroes, others as villains.